Have you ever checked your pocket change and wondered if you might be holding a small fortune? Today, we're diving into three seemingly ordinary dimes that command extraordinary prices, hidden treasures that might be sitting in your collection or perhaps even in your spare change jar right now. The 1988, 1990, and 2015 dimes we'll explore today aren't just pieces of currency, they're artifacts with fascinating stories, minting errors, and values that will make your jaw drop. Whether you've been collecting for decades or you're simply curious about what makes certain modern coins worth thousands, you're in for some surprising revelations. Let's start our journey with the 1988 dime, a coin that proves sometimes the most valuable treasures are the ones with the tiniest imperfections. The 1988 Roosevelt dime might seem like an unremarkable modern coin at first glance. After all, Roosevelt dimes have been minted since 1946, and billions of them circulate throughout the United States. But among those billions lies a rare variety that has captivated collectors and sent value soaring, the elusive 1988 no-mint mark Roosevelt dime. To understand why this coin is special, we need to take a brief journey back to the late 1980s at the Philadelphia Mint. Typically, dimes produced in Philadelphia during this era bore no mint mark, which was standard practice at the time. However, what makes certain 1988 dimes valuable isn't their Philadelphia origin, but rather a fascinating minting error that occurred that year. In 1988, something unusual happened in the production process. The Philadelphia Mint produced what appeared to be normal dimes, but upon closer inspection, some of these coins exhibited a distinct doubling effect on Roosevelt's features and other design elements. This resulted in what numismatists call the 1988 no-mint mark Roosevelt dime with double die obverse (DDO) error. When examining this coin, you'll want to look specifically at Roosevelt's profile. The double die error appears most prominently around Roosevelt's eye, ear, and the lettering of Liberty and In God We Trust. Under magnification, you'll notice a distinct doubling effect, where it appears as if the design was stamped twice but slightly offset. This wasn't a case of machine malfunction during striking, but rather an error in the hub and die preparation process before any coins were even struck. The doubling occurred when the die, the piece of metal used to strike the design onto blank coins, was being created. During the manufacturing of the die, it was impressed twice with the hub, with a slight rotation or movement between impressions. This created a die with doubled features, which then transferred this doubling to every coin it struck. What makes this particular doubled die so coveted is its clarity and prominence. Many doubled dies show only subtle doubling that requires significant magnification to detect. The 1988 DDO, however, displays doubling that's relatively easy to spot with a standard 10x loupe, particularly around Roosevelt's eye near regions. Now, let's talk about the market value that has collectors constantly checking their change and collections. In circulated condition, a 1988 double die dime might fetch anywhere from $50 to $150, depending on wear and overall appearance. But the real value lies in uncirculated specimens. Mint state examples can command prices ranging from $500 to over $2,500, with the premium specimens graded MS 67 or higher reaching the upper end of that spectrum. In 2017, a particularly pristine example graded MS 68 by PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, sold at auction for an astounding $3,290. To put that in perspective, that's nearly 33,000 times its face value. And prices have only continued to climb as awareness of this variety has spread among collectors. What makes collecting these coins particularly exciting is that they're still being discovered in circulation today. Unlike ancient coins or well-documented rarities that have long been removed from circulation, these modern errors can potentially be found in pocket change, rolls from banks, or in collections that haven't been thoroughly examined. There are stories of collectors finding these gems in ordinary rolls of dimes purchased from their local bank. One collector in Ohio reportedly found 3 specimens in a single roll in 2014, netting him over $1,000 for a $5 investment in a roll of dimes. The condition of the coin dramatically affects its value, perhaps more so than with many other numismatic rarities. Since these coins were minted relatively recently, collectors expect higher-grade specimens. A 1988 DDO dime in barely circulated condition might bring $75 to $100, while one showing significant wear might only command $30 to $50. The sweet spot for most collectors is finding an uncirculated specimen with minimal bag marks or handling damage, ideally with original mint luster still intact. Authentication is crucial when dealing with double die varieties, as there are many cases of misidentified coins and even some counterfeits entering the market. True double dies exhibit doubling that was created during the die-making process, not during striking. Machine doubling, sometimes called strike doubling or mechanical doubling, can create similar effects but doesn't carry the same premium. A trained eye or professional grading service can distinguish between these different types of doubling. Beyond the famous double die variety, there are other interesting 1988 dime varieties worth mentioning. Some collectors have identified repunched mint mark varieties on the San Francisco and Denver issues from that year, though these command significantly lower premiums than the Philadelphia double die. There's also an interesting historical context to the 1988 dime. The year 1988 marked the end of Reagan's presidency and a transitional period in American history. The Berlin Wall would fall just a year later, and the Cold War was beginning to thaw. These coins were minted during this pivotal historical moment, adding an extra layer of interest for collectors who appreciate the historical context of their numismatic treasures. For the average collector, the thrill of potentially finding a valuable error like the 1988 double die dime is what keeps the hobby exciting. It reminds us that not all valuable coins are ancient, gold, or immediately obvious treasures. Sometimes, the most valuable pieces are hiding in plain sight, distinguished only by subtle characteristics that the informed collector knows to look for. If you're examining your collection after hearing about this variety, remember to check with proper lighting and magnification. The doubling is most noticeable on Roosevelt's ear, eye, and the surrounding lettering. And if you think you found one, consider having it authenticated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC, as this will not only confirm your discovery but also potentially increase its marketability and value. The 1988 Roosevelt dime with double die obverse stands as a testament to the fascination of modern coin collecting, proof that even in an era of machine-precise minting, human involvement and mechanical processes still create those fascinating variations that drive our hobby forward and keep us checking our change, day after day. Now let's turn our attention to another modern dime that commands remarkable premiums, the 1990 NOS Roosevelt proof dime. This isn't just any minting error, it's what we call a mint mistake that created one of the rarest modern US coins, with a story that reads almost like a detective novel. Unlike the 1988 double die we just discussed, the 1990 NOS proof dime wasn't released into circulation. To understand its significance, we need to understand what a proof coin is. Proof coins are special editions struck specifically for collectors, with polished dies and planchets, multiple strikes to bring up detail, and a mirror-like finish that's unmistakable. These coins are sold directly to collectors in proof sets and are never intended for circulation. In 1990, the San Francisco Mint was responsible for producing all proof coins, including the Roosevelt dime. These proof coins should all bear the S mint mark, indicating their San Francisco origin. However, somehow, a small number of proof dimes were struck without the critical S mint mark, creating an instant rarity that would become legendary in numismatic circles. When examining a potential 1990 NOS proof dime, the first thing to look for is, naturally, the absence of the S mint mark where it should appear, just above the date on the obverse. But that alone isn't enough to authenticate this rarity. The coin must also exhibit all the characteristics of a proof striking, mirror-like fields, frosted design elements, what we call cameo contrast, and exceptional detail throughout. In other words, it needs to look like a proof coin in every way except for the missing mint mark. The story behind this error has become something of a numismatic legend. According to mint officials, the error occurred when a die intended for business strike coins, regular circulation coins, which at that time were struck in Philadelphia and bore no mint mark, was mistakenly used to strike a small number of proof dimes in San Francisco. How this die made its way from Philadelphia to San Francisco and then into a proof coin press remains something of a mystery, though it speaks to the human element that still exists in coin production despite advanced technology. The rarity of this coin cannot be overstated. While the exact number produced remains unknown, numismatic experts estimate that perhaps 3,500 examples exist. This might sound like a lot, but when you consider that over 3.5 million proof sets were sold in 1990, containing over 3.5 million proof dimes, we're talking about less than 0.1% of the proof dimes minted that year. The discovery of the 1990 No-S proof dime caused immediate excitement in the collecting community. The first examples were discovered when collectors opened their 1990 proof sets and noticed the missing mint mark. News spread quickly through numismatic publications and coin shows, and prices immediately skyrocketed. The U.S. Mint acknowledged the error but offered no remedy or replacement, essentially confirming these as legitimate mint errors that would not be corrected. The market value of the 1990 No-S Roosevelt proof dime reflects its extreme rarity. In PR 65 condition, a relatively standard grade for proof coins, these dimes regularly sell for $2,000 to $3,000. Specimens with deep cameo contrast, where the frosted design elements stand in stark relief against the mirror-like fields, can fetch $3,500 to $5,000 or more. At the highest end of the spectrum, a perfect PR 70 DCAM, deep cameo, example sold at a heritage auction in 2019 for an astounding $10,200. What's particularly fascinating about this coin is that it exists solely in proof sets. Unlike many valuable coins that might be found in circulation, the only way to acquire a 1990 No-S dime is to find an original 1990 proof set that contains one, or to purchase one from another collector who has already made such a discovery. This has led to a secondary market where unopened 1990 proof sets sell for premiums based on the possibility they might contain the No-S variety. There's also an interesting historical pattern here that makes the 1990 No-S dime even more intriguing to specialists. The San Francisco Mint had previously produced No-S proof coins in 1968, 1970, 1975, and 1983. Each of these earlier No-S proof errors is highly valued, with the 1975 No-S dime being particularly rare and valuable, with only 2 known examples, each worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 1990 No-S dime continues this tradition of rare mint mark errors, though it exists in greater numbers than some of its predecessors. The 1990 No-S dime also tells us something about quality control at the U.S. Mint during this period. Proof coins undergo extensive quality checks before packaging, yet these errors still made it into collectors' hands. After the discovery of the 1990 No-S dime, the Mint reportedly implemented additional safeguards in the die preparation and inspection process to prevent similar errors in the future. For collectors, the hunt for a 1990 No-S dime has become something of a quest. Some dedicated collectors have opened hundreds of 1990 proof sets searching for this elusive variety. There are stories of collectors who purchased large quantities of 1990 proof sets when they were first released, stored them away, and years later discovered they had been sitting on coins worth thousands of dollars each. One particularly lucky collector from Minnesota reported finding 3 1990 No-S dimes in a single case of proof sets he purchased directly from the Mint in 1990. At today's values, that single case yielded him coins worth over $10,000, not a bad return on an initial investment of a few $100s. The condition of these coins is typically excellent, as they were never intended for circulation. However, even among proof coins, there are variations in quality. Some examples may show slight handling marks from the minting process, while others may have minor imperfections in the fields. The very best examples, those graded PR 69 or PR 70, command significant premiums over those with even slight imperfections. Authentication is absolutely critical with the 1990 No-S dime, perhaps even more so than with many other valuable coins. There have been cases of altered coins where the S mint mark was carefully removed to create a counterfeit of this valuable variety. Professional grading services have the expertise to detect such alterations, which is why virtually all legitimate 1990 NOS dimes on the market today are sold in sealed holders from PCGS, NGC, or another respected grading service. What makes this coin particularly appealing to serious collectors is that it represents one of the last great mint mark errors from the U.S. Mint. As minting technology has improved and quality control procedures have been enhanced, such errors have become increasingly rare. The 1990 NOS dime stands as a testament to an era when significant mint errors could still occur and reach the public, creating those rare treasures that define the excitement of numismatic collecting. So if you have any 1990 proof sets tucked away in your collection, or if you come across them at estate sales or coin shows, they're definitely worth a second look. Inside could be a dime worth thousands of times its face value, a modern rarity that continues to captivate collectors and command impressive prices more than 3 decades after its creation. Now let's move on to our most recent rarity, the 2015 Roosevelt dime. While many collectors focus on vintage coins, assuming modern pieces couldn't possibly hold significant value, the 2015 Roosevelt dime proves that remarkable treasures are still being created at U.S. mints today. What makes certain 2015 dimes so special involves a fascinating minting anomaly that created what's known as a cross-mint mule, perhaps one of the most intriguing modern mint errors. In the world of numismatics, a mule refers to a coin struck with mismatched dies, essentially the obverse, heads, from one coin design paired with the reverse, tails, from another. The 2015 Roosevelt dime mule is particularly special because it features a Roosevelt dime obverse paired with a strike from a different mint than where the coin was produced. Here's where the story gets interesting. In 2015, the Philadelphia Mint was producing Roosevelt dimes with no mint mark, as was traditional for Philadelphia issues until relatively recently. Meanwhile, the West Point Mint was tasked with producing Roosevelt dimes with the W mint mark as part of special silver sets. What appears to have happened, according to numismatic researchers, is that a small number of Philadelphia-struck dime planchets were struck with West Point reverse dies, creating a fascinating hybrid, coins that show characteristics of production from 2 different mints. When examining a potential 2015 Philadelphia/West Point mule dime, the devil is truly in the details. These coins exhibit specific die markers and finishing characteristics that differ subtly from standard Philadelphia issues. Under magnification, the reverse shows die polishing patterns consistent with West Point production methods, which tend to be slightly different from Philadelphia's. The strike is often sharper than typical Philadelphia business strikes, and the edge reading may show slight variations in pattern or depth. These differences are extraordinarily subtle, so subtle, in fact, that many of these coins likely circulated for years before the first examples were discovered by sharp-eyed collectors in 2018. The discovery sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, as it represented a type of mint error previously unseen in modern Roosevelt dimes. Estimating the rarity of these coins remains challenging. Unlike some mint errors where the mint has acknowledged the mistake and provided production figures, the cross-mint mule status of these coins remains technically unconfirmed by the U.S. Mint, though the evidence assembled by numismatic researchers is compelling. Based on the number of specimens authenticated thus far, experts estimate that perhaps fewer than 1,000 examples exist, making this arguably the rarest of our 3 dimes discussed today. The market value of the 2015 Roosevelt dime mule reflects both its rarity and the growing interest in modern mint errors. In circulated condition, authenticated examples have sold for $1,500 to $3,000. Uncirculated specimens, particularly those with minimal handling marks and full mint luster, have realized prices between $3,500 and $7,000. In 2022, a particularly pristine example graded MS-68 by PCGS sold at a specialized error coin auction for an impressive $8,750. What makes collecting these coins particularly exciting is the knowledge that they're still being discovered. Unlike the 1990 NOS proof dime, which exists only in proof sets, these 2015 mules entered general circulation. This means that theoretically, anyone could find one in their pocket change, a roll from the bank, or even in a vending machine's change return. It's the modern-day equivalent of finding a needle in a haystack, but it's possible, and that possibility fuels the passion of error coin collectors nationwide. There are several fascinating stories surrounding the discovery and collecting of these coins. One collector in Arizona reportedly found 3 examples while searching through just 2 boxes of dimes obtained from his local bank in 2019. A coin roll hunter from Illinois documented finding a specimen in an ordinary mixed roll of dimes purchased at face value, turning a $5 investment into a $3,000 windfall overnight. These stories remind us that the thrill of discovery remains alive and well in modern coin collecting. As with most valuable error coins, condition plays a crucial role in determining value. Since these coins were struck for general circulation, finding pristine examples is challenging. Most discovered specimens show at least some evidence of circulation wear or contact marks. Coins grading MS-64 or better, on the 70-point Sheldon scale, command significant premiums, while those showing moderate circulation might bring half the price of their uncirculated counterparts. Authentication is absolutely essential with the 2015 mule dime, perhaps even more so than with our other featured coins. The distinctive characteristics that identify these coins are subtle and require specialized knowledge to verify. Several major third-party grading services, including PCGS and NGC, have developed specific attribution standards for these coins and offer attribution services to confirm their status. Given the significant value difference between a regular 2015 Philadelphia dime, worth face value, and a cross-mint mule, worth thousands, professional authentication is not just recommended, it's practically mandatory for sellers and buyers alike. There's an interesting historical parallel here worth noting. The 2015 Roosevelt dime mule joins a small but prestigious group of other famous U.S. mule errors, including the legendary 2000 Sacagawea $/Washington quarter mule, worth over $100,000, and several other notable 20th and 21st century mules. What makes the 2015 dime particularly special is that it represents a cross-mint error rather than simply mismatched denomination dies from the same facility. For the dedicated collector, the hunt for a 2015 mule dime represents one of the few opportunities to potentially find a 4-figure coin in circulation today. Many collectors have taken to searching rolls of dimes systematically, hoping to spot the subtle differences that distinguish these valuable errors. Coin roll hunting has experienced something of a renaissance in recent years, partly fueled by the possibility of finding modern rarities like this one. Beyond its monetary value, the 2015 Roosevelt dime mule tells us something important about modern minting processes. Despite advanced technology and quality control procedures, coins with fascinating anomalies still occasionally make it into circulation. These modern errors connect today's collectors with a tradition of error collecting that extends back to the earliest days of U.S. coinage, when hand-struck coins frequently exhibited striking errors, die cracks, and other anomalies. The 2015 Roosevelt dime mule also illustrates how the numismatic community works today, with discoveries shared online, information spreading rapidly through social media and forums, and collectors collaboratively building knowledge about new varieties. The first examples were identified through discussions on online coin forums, where collectors shared high-resolution photographs and compared notes about die characteristics. This collaborative approach has accelerated the identification and study of modern rarities in ways that would have been impossible in earlier eras. So next time you receive change or happen upon a jar of dimes, take a moment to examine them more closely. The 2015 Roosevelt dime mule serves as a reminder that valuable treasures aren't just locked away in bank vaults or museum displays, they might be hiding in plain sight, waiting for the observant collector to discover them. So check your change, search those rolls, and examine your collections. You never know when you might be holding a small piece of minting history worth thousands of times its face value. Thanks for joining me on this exploration of America's most valuable modern dimes. Until next time, happy collecting.